Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Spacehawk by Basil Wolverton. This was published by Fantagraphics Books in 2012. This is actually more fascinating than you would think. Sure, everyone likes Basil Wolverton, but literally, after like 30 years of random scattered Spacehawk reprints, because they were kind of in the public domain, I believe, it seemed like lots of little companies would put out Basil Wolverton reprints. I think they slipped through the cracks of the copyright. Dark Horse had a Spacehawk series. One of the most important ones, I gotta say, is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. This is amazing to me. This was published in 1990. It's called Space Funnies, and it's the first 3 Spacehawk stories reprinted. Now, 1990, this is before computer printing. Now we have all these great reprints, very affordable, where they can just computer scan, beautiful Golden Age comics with the original colors. That was incredibly prohibitive back then. I mean, that would have cost so much. Which brings us to this, because this did cost a lot. But it's just amazing to me that this company called Archival Photography was like, we love comics, we want to do them right. And $19.90, $5.95 sticker price on this. That's, almost as much as, a thin graphic novel back then. But you can understand why, because when you look inside, and look how good this looks. Every page is slick paper. And, at the time, they would actually mutilate comics to reprint them. They would do this weird, arcane method of bleaching out the colors from old comics. They basically had to destroy, these classic Golden Age comics. And they'd bleach them and then add the colors. But this guy was just like, yeah, the bleaching thing doesn't work. And you got to retouch the colors. And, the colorist might not get it right. And they just, basically just like a magazine, they photographed the original comics. They got their hands on the first 3 Spacehawk appearances and just photographed them really nicely. Look how good this looks. This is almost like, I imagine what the original comics look like, because these are just pristine photos. And I just want to show you this as an example, because the main reason why this Fantagraphics book that we're about to look at is so amazing is because all the time Spacehawk was reprinted, it was never in color. So all my life, I'd see these little smatterings of Spacehawk here and there. And I gotta say, Spacehawk's amazing. Art-wise, okay, not writing-wise. It's pretty crude, pretty idiotic writing, but really imaginative. So it's still fun as hell and fun to read. But the colors are amazing. I don't know if Basil Wolverton was in charge of it. I don't know if he was doing color guides or just some rando at, Novelty Comics was like, I'm just going to slap some colors on this. But they look amazing. And, to be honest, the Fantagraphics also, in a different way, are equally as good as this. They're more bright. I don't know what they did, but some kind of process where it's like, it's the original colors, but, brighter. But this actually looks more like if you actually got one of those 1940 comics. This was such a rare thing. So I'm not going to look at this necessarily today because all these stories are reprinted. And that's what really matters is the stories. I don't care about the editions, reprinting them. But if you guys ever find this, even though I have this book where I have all the Spacehawk stories, but I can't sell this. Something about this is just amazing to me that these guys just, there was never another one, obviously. It was probably way too expensive. It probably sold shitty. Because people were like, I'm not paying $5.95 for basically a normal sized comic. But I mean, guys, slick paper, at the time, unheard of colors of reprints. Because like I said, it was all that like shitty bleach process. They'd have to touch up the art because it would fuck up the art. So you weren't really getting the originals. This is just pure original. This is just, I mean, almost like owning a copy, a very expensive copy of these Golden Age comics. Okay, let's get to the Spacehawk book. Really nice design on this. Kind of reminds me, this came out after, I'm pretty sure it came out after the Fletcher Hanks books. And I think they were going for that same thing. Basically accentuating that Basil Wolverton was an amazing design guy. Even if you don't like comics, it's kind of amazing. Just his logos, crazy patterns. I mean, it's op art, basically. I mean, if Roy Lichtenstein just put this on a museum wall, I'm sure people would go crazy. This is just amazing. Look at this crazy shit. Look how fat it is. It's a nice fat book. It's very substantial. I love this back cover. This is a great design choice because that was Basil Wolverton's forte. Just making these crazy aliens that are kind of humorous. Because, I mean, you guys probably know if you've been watching this channel. Basil Wolverton, very funny artist. He did hundreds of pages of humorous work. And he was a master at that. But then his serious stuff, the funny stuff would just sneak in. Basil Wolverton couldn't help himself. So Spacehawk is a very straight sci-fi character. But he'd meet guys like this. Look at these goofballs. Look at this guy. So, I mean, these are zany, goofy, cartoony characters, but in this realistic science fiction milieu, and it's a great combination, and that's why these Spacehawks are fucking amazing. Okay, so like I said, Fletcher Hanks, that book is very well designed. Look at this. This is the original, like color patterns from, the Ben-Day dots. But I mean, like there's graphic designers out there who would fucking give their eye teeth to be able to make something this cool looking. That's like amazing. I don't know why I just chuckled, but something about that face. It's almost like Jero Bob Dobbs. It's like that, such a straight art style. Another one. Look at that. Just the composition. It's just so appealing. And here's the title page. So like I said, guys, this is like 40 years waiting for this since I was a little kid. Like, these Spacehawk stories are amazing. I guess now that I think about it, maybe there was a color reprint in the Smithsonian Book of Comic Books. I might be dreaming that or making that up. But it probably is in there. Look at this, though. Basil Wolverton, 1940. I don't know if you guys are fans of Golden Age comics. Almost all of those artists weren't very good. They got better. But the original Golden Age comics is a handful of guys you could look at. Reed Crandall, Lou Fine. And, I mean, look at this. I mean, Wally Wood would fucking drool over this shit, 10 years later. This is really nice stuff. But with this crazy waves, this is like beautiful pop art, Contents page, really nice. They give you I love this, every appearance, every story where it appeared for the first time, the date. I really like that stuff. All collections, I think, should have that. So you don't have to be all like, I'm not even sure what year this is. They got an introduction from Monty Wolverton, Basil Wolverton's son. And this is a nice little introduction. He gives a little history about his father. And then we start off with Spacehawk and the Creeping Death from Neptune. The first few appearances of Spacehawk, he had this weird mask. He looks like a monster, actually. He doesn't look like a hero at all. This looks like a creepy space monster. But, and they also build up this mystery, like, what is Spacehawk? Is he even a human? Like, they really played it up. And so, I mean, guys, look at this. How great these faces are. These guys, I mean, they're funny. Look at that. That's very funny stuff. But that was Basil Wolverton's amazing strength as a cartoonist. He would have this amazing illustrative stuff, but very imaginative. Look at this crazy, I think that's flora. I think those are some kind of mushrooms on this planet. Just like nothing else anyone would draw. Look at all the work he does just in this like field of stars here. He could have just made a black field there and maybe draw a moon. But no, he was just kind of obsessive. Look at all the line work on these rocks. Incredible. And yet he drew goofy guys like this within that milieu. It's kind of a great combination. And like I said, guys, the colors, look how beautiful these primary colors are. I never saw this until I got this book. I mean, except for that archival comics I had. I think I got that sometime in the 90s, a long time ago. But 3 little stories. And these are even brighter. So I don't know what the process was with this. I don't know if they just photographed the comics or retouched it with computers. I don't know. So basically, Spacehawk is a, space adventurer, and every episode he's meeting these crazy aliens. Oh my God, look at this. What is that? It's amazing. Just so surreal and bizarre. I'm sorry, guys. I just keep chuckling. Look at this guy's face. All these guys, look at these mush mouths. Look at this panel, guys. Spacehawk has the power of levitation. He's got anti-gravity shit in his, uniform. And he's carrying this woman out of a canyon. What other cartoonists would do this? They would just draw a normal canyon, a few lines to delineate the rocks. This is just like amazing, beautiful surrealism. Okay, look at these things. Some kind of flora. They look like the little tops of Elmer's glue. Different colors. Like, what the hell are those? They look amazing, though. And guys, the reason why I'm not really telling you much of the plot of these is like they're not very good. These aren't really that great as far as like story at all. These are all about like the art. But I mean, Basil Wolverton kind of knew where his strengths were. So all the stories do, I mean, in a way, they're brilliant in that they just like, Basil Wolverton wrote stories that allowed him to draw zany shit like this as much as he could. Weird technology. Look at this panel. That looks like Kaz. That looks like something from early Kaz. Just complete abstraction there. Oh my God, I love this. Yeah, it's kind of weird how Spacehawk is just wearing this weird, creepy mask. Like something from a Richard Sala comic or something. But it really doesn't matter because I think the star of all these, the early Spacehawks are the aliens. All the crazy Martians and Venusians and Neptunians he meets. Spacehawk is pretty much just a cipher. He's like, he's like Superman. He's just like, I'm the good guy. I'm the boring good guy who just wants to help everyone. Sorry, guys, just can't get over it. So many of these panels are so great just because they have these amazingly drawn aliens that only Basil Wolverton could draw. Nobody would ever think to draw such a goofy-looking character in a serious... Because these are very serious. There's not really any humor at all in these. They're just very pulpy, kind of primitive stories. There's that, I don't know, that jizz monster again. That's such a great, weird design. Look at this panel, guys. Look at the hatching here. Terry Austin, I think, looked at this when he was a little boy. This is so Terry Austin. Oh my God. Insane. So now we have the second story. Not a real title, just as the Spacehawk. And in this one, he's, I guess, in Venus. And Venus is, according to Basil Wolverton's knowledge of astronomy, is a water planet. And it's populated by these guys, these fish-faced dudes, who are also kind of funny. Actually kind of cute as hell. God, this reminds me of a cartoonist. I can't think of who. Tony Millionaire, maybe? And so I guess these aliens from Mercury start fucking with them. These guys are zany too. Look at them. Look at that character design. It's amazing. Of course, the beautiful primary colors continue. Total eye candy, this stuff. So luckily, these Venusians are like pals with Spacehawk. So the Mercurians are fucking with them, and they're like, we gotta mentally, I don't know. Look at this crazy contraption. It's some kind of mental telephone. We gotta contact Spacehawk. He'll help us. Look at Spacehawk's craft too. That's so Basil Wolverton. It's just a weird looking starship. Very clunky, but kind of cool looking. Spacehawk's still got his mask on. We still don't know if he's even human. Now we have more weird aliens. It's nutty. Okay, look at this. He could have just drawn a boring mountain range, but they're like rainbow-colored mountains. It's almost like just psychedelic, this comic. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, like, this is the sky. He could have just made it white or black. Look at all this crazy white lines he does. It's almost like he's, like, trying to be, like, I don't know, like Joseph Clement Cole or, like, those classic illustrators that did, like, wood prints and stuff. It's like, dude, no Golden Age publisher gives a shit about you doing all this extra work. They're not going to pay you more. But Basil Wolverton was just this guy living in Oregon, no contact with any other cartoonists, and he was just like, yeah, this is what you got to do. You got to put all this extra work in. But I don't think it probably increased his paycheck one penny, you know? He didn't care, though. He just wanted to look good. More just weird. What is that? I don't know. Clunky technology. That looks like a Pro Junior. Look at that. That's totally Pro Junior, which is a bigger honker, bigger nose. Just weird. Yeah, I mean, you guys probably know, like, a lot of underground cartoonists love Basil Wolverton, and you can see so much of this. You can see Jay Lynch here. Just so much stuff is just... So Spacehawk is basically like, he's totally superhuman. You know, he basically could do anything. He's got mental powers, super strong, super smart. He could just build a crazy bit of technology at the drop of a hat. Like, yeah, we need a cyber laser beam. And Spacehawk will be like, give me 24 hours, I'll build it. These fish guys. They're very cute, actually. So this one's so weird, where I guess in Venus, something happened where these These creatures used to live on land, and they adapted to the ocean, and basically Spacehawk, like I said, this is how brilliant he is. He says, get your people together. I will perform a change that will make you be able to live on land in a few hours. Basically go against thousands of years of evolution, maybe millions. And in a few hours, he makes this machine that turns them into creatures that can breathe air, which I guess they always wanted. They were like, we had to live in the sea. We had no choice, but we always wanted to get back to land. And Spacehawk does it in the matter of a day. A little less than a day, a few hours. Look at these stupid looking spaceships. They're just like, I don't know, electric razors. Pretty clunky. Once again, you could have just drawn a building. Most people would have colored it one color, but look at this. It's like a bunch of children's building blocks. Still haven't seen Spacehawk's face. Kind of weird. And they really play this up on these teaser panels. Everyone is like, ooh, will we ever find out the identity of Spacehawk? Tune in. Maybe next time we'll tell you. And this one is a little romance. This is the third Spacehawk story. No title. God, guys, look at this. These guys are ridiculous. So these are two bad guys. Almost all the aliens are bad in this. There's a few alien races that are friends with Spacehawk, but they're always causing trouble. These guys are gonna fuck up the shipping lanes. And the technology it portrays is insane. You know, it's like, oh, our plan is to put rockets on this planet and shove it through space. This planetoid. So it can disrupt the shipping lanes. Look at this guy. Sorry. This stuff is so funny to me. It's and this one is amazing. Look how many alien races we've seen. How many goofy alien races. And look, we get more. Look at this guy. I love that guy. He's got no torso. His legs just go up to his chin, basically. And then we get these weird guys who are kind of scary, actually. They're like eagle tortoises. The snarls. And they basically are just killing all these other cute little aliens. Those eagle tortoises work for these two guys, who I couldn't find what planet they're from. Maybe they didn't mention it. It doesn't really matter. It's all imaginary, right? And they see this woman, and of course they're like, ooh, this Earth girl, she's so comely. And they start fighting over her. And it's like, okay, if you look like this, why would you be attracted to a human woman? I mean, that's not your species. You'd probably think she looked weird. Oh, her neck is only 4 inches long. That's not attractive. And I gotta say, I don't know Basil Wolverton. I know he was a nice Christian guy, very moral. But God, look at this, guys. This is so phallic. So blatantly phallic. Right there. That's the beauty of these early Golden Age comics, like 1940, 1941, when Fletcher Hanks was working. They didn't know. They were just cranking shit out. A few years later, everything got a little more sanitized. They were like, okay, this guy is trying to pass some weird shit. I'm sure this alien wouldn't have made it in 1944 or even 1943. But the early days of Golden Age are just it's like reading underground comics. It's like, there's some nutty, crazy shit in those comics. And it's kind of interesting. These tortoise eagles, you never quite see their face. It's almost like they're I don't know, Albert Einstein types. The hair is always covering their face, or they're seen from behind. But it does kind of make them even more, I don't know, scary, I guess. Almost every panel in this is a fucking gem. Like it's worth, I don't know, ripping off to make a sticker or a poster or a t-shirt design. Look at this guy. Of course, it's the golden age, so a beautiful woman must be constrained in some kind of, I mean, usually it's a tube. A lot of times it's a glass tube, but this is like in almost every golden age comic. Oh, finally, so we finally see Spacehawk. And it's weird that Basil Wolverton's so cartoony with the aliens. He does like straight art really nicely. I mean, you've probably already noticed from the woman that he draws. But there's some panels of Spacehawk that like, dude, man, that is not like from the golden age. That looks like really well rendered. Basil Wolverton was really amazing, even at this age. A little romance here. Of course, Spacehawk is too busy with his, his work, fighting evil in the cosmos, to ever really settle down with a woman. So it's just a little kiss. And then she says, will I meet you again soon? Oh, look at that panel. The rainbow. Just, like I said, so many panels in here are just flawless. Flawlessly amazing. Spacehawk and the Vulturemen from the Void. There's that, we saw this already in the end papers. But look at this, guys. I think actually that's a photo, which is very odd. I mean, like Jack Kirby would do this in the 60s, cutting out photos, kind of making collages. Then again, I wouldn't put it past Basil Wolverton that he was skillful enough that this could be his just pen work. But I think that's a photo. If you notice, look at this. Every panel has this crazy, time-consuming cross-hatching. And it's amazing. It's beautiful. I don't know. This could be a photo too, right here. Upward left-hand corner. Here's the Vulturemen. Once again, very cartoony. Like I said, though, look at this. That's a great face. That's a, serious, straight art. That's really good looking. And, oh my God, the carnage in these is kind of like Fletcher Hanks, where sometimes the aliens will attack Earth. And it's very odd, because the aliens will tell Spacehawk their plans. And Spacehawk will just be like, basically like, oh, okay, I'll wait and see what happens. Oh my God, guys, I'm sorry. I just noticed this. Look at the hair here. The way he inks this hair. That hairstyle, that's amazing. So basically these Vulturemen, they release these deadly fumes on Earth. I think it's one major city, but it's a very big city. And look, they all die. And basically it's revealed that, like, Spacehawk's like, oh, I might have prevented this, but I didn't want to kill those Vulturemen on sight. Now I have to wipe them out. The Vulturemen told them they were going to destroy Earth. They were like, yeah, we're going to destroy Earth. And Spacehawk was basically like, you guys better not. Or there'll be trouble. And so basically, instead of like at least capturing them, throwing them in some kind of space jail, he let them kill thousands, maybe millions of people. Pretty gruesome panel. Once again, guys, look at this. All these random spaceships, all multicolored. So nice. Once again, in this scene, Spacehawk has to put on the space armor. And look how clunky it is. It's like Robbie the Robot, like worse than that. It's just so clunky. Here's another benign alien race. These kind of look like mice. Look how weird that design is. Look at that. There's definitely some underground comics influence. Well, influenced underground comics. Just these planetary scenes. So cartoony and yet so amazingly surreal. And of course the colors. Everything's multicolored. There's Spacehawk in his clunky armor. That is so not sleek. It's the opposite of Iron Man's armor. It's like, man. And he gives the aliens, the Vulturemen, a taste of their own medicine. And they get dissolved by that, whatever that shit was. Sorry. The poison gas type thing. Spacehawk, the superhuman enemy of crime. Oh, God, more great shit. I love it. You guys, this one's really weird. Especially, like, it's 2024. It's a few months till the election. We see this kind of a major domo of this powerful character. Election returns are almost half in, Glork, and you're still ahead. Of course I'm ahead. Within the hour I shall have wrested the leadership of Mars from the peace-loving fool Robo. Then I shall organize a war machine before the very mention of which people of other worlds will cringe in terror. And his skin is orange? It is really kind of uncanny, some of the things he says. He's a would-be dictator, but the planet still has this democratic system. So he has to, like, run for election. But his whole plan is once he wins, he's going to be a dictatorial leader and turn Mars this part of Mars into a warlike nation. Spacehawk is basically like a monitor, a UN monitor. He says, I must be on hand when the Martian election is over. I can't let Glork bully them into choosing him for their ruler. And so he makes a disguise. Spacehawk can do anything, basically. Another zany. Look at that guy. That honker on him. More beautiful, crazy colors, building block cities. And, oh my God, he's completely this leader is like, when he hears about the other guy leading the polls by 47 million, he freaks out. How dare they vote for Robo? My men have threatened the people of every community. And so Robo wins, the kind of nice democratic ruler. This orange dude says he's very petulant about it. The thankless swine, I'll make them regret this. If I can't rule the planet, I'll see to it that no one does. Am I crazy in seeing something very prescient here? Luckily, Spacehawk's on the scene. Look at that. These two spaceships crashing. That is just another very surreal, beautiful piece of art. If you notice too, like, look at, this guy's got a fuzzy head. I don't know many artists who draw fuzz, short hair that well. That's amazing. I don't know what the technique is, but Basil Wolverton, man, he definitely had some tricks in his pocket. Oh my, look at these guys. Who the hell are they? And then whatever this is, I guess maybe that's some kind of tree on this planet, all collapsing. That is just amazing. So this Spacehawk disguised as this alien, and he confronts the Donald Trump alien. We get in a big fight. Look, more great monster aliens. Look at these guys. Only Basil Wolverton could design that. So basically, this Trump guy, he was like, if I can't win, I'll destroy the world. So he did this thing that would draw the moon toward Mars and destroy the planet. And then it says the tidal pull became so strong that the water in Mars's largest canals whipped up into space. Guys, just look at this. Like how it's so, I don't know, abstract, weird. It's just so hard to believe this is from 1940. I would totally think it's from heavy metal, or probably a also ran to heavy metal. It's from Gasm or Epic Illustrated or something. So good. Look at this panel. This is Mars is has all these earthquakes because the tidal pull has been reversed. Basically, Spacehawk fixed the whole moon situation. He made it so the moon wouldn't get closer to Mars and fuck everything up. Guys, I'm overwhelmed, to be honest. I know it's very late at night. It's like 4 a.m. and I'm drunk as fuck. But every page has these panels that are just like such amazing design work. Crazy colors on there. I can't believe for decades I've been reading these in black and white and loving them, not even realizing the treasures that were withheld from me seeing these in color, because the colors are just really make it. So of course Spacehawk defeats the Donald Trump guy. He basically feeds him to these giant crazy monsters. Look at this. Look at this guy. This is like Basil Wolverton's, like later, ugly art, Look at these crazy teeth. Here we go again. Guys, I think this episode's going to be 3 hours long. I don't know how I cannot comment on this. Look at this panel. What the hell's going on here? His machinery is multicolored. The landscape of hills and buildings is multicolored. The sky is multicolored. It's just this beautiful, polychromatic orgasm in your eye. This is so amazing to me. Of course, now we have even more crazy aliens. Look at this guy. This little rat-faced dude. So funny. It's funny because these are played straight. They're totally played straight. And say all the villains look like this. So it's just like hard to take them seriously. This is kind of an interesting one because it actually has another hero. I guess there's this like space cop, and there's this corrupt city run by this rat guy. It's basically a city of thieves. So if cops show up, they basically throw them outside the city walls, and it's surrounded by these inhospitable jungles full of very scary monsters, basically dinosaurs. And this guy, Captain Dak, he runs into the jungle. He's one of the few guys who survives the initial attack. Amazing aliens everywhere. And Spacehawk tries to rescue him, but he's already like almost dead. He's like, this is the end for me. And he says, it's too late to save my body, but my brain, you could save it with your great surgical knowledge. And he basically tells Spacehawk to graft his brain into one of these dinosaur-like creatures that live on this planet so he can get his revenge against, this rat dude and his city of thieves and ne'er-do-wells. And so look at this crazy design for this weird dinosaur monster. It's very bizarre. But now it's Dak. the officer. He's got the brain of Dak. And so the story continues. Spacehawk, fights the rat guys. They capture him. But then Dak basically riles up all the other dinosaur monsters to attack the city. And they kill all the bad guys. Once again, just look at this panel. Amazing. Such a weird globular design for this dinosaur. Once again, all the spaceships are just very clunky, but kind of cool looking. And then the rat guy gets his just desserts. He's thrown into the jungle, and all these animals are chasing him. Look at the flora here, guys. What the hell are these things? Mushroom caps things. So this is like one of those little short stories to fulfill postal regulations. It's a little Spacehawk story. Nice little illustration by Basil Wolverton. Next story. So Spacehawk runs into his own old friend Galar. I think this is one of the few humans we've seen other than that pretty girl, in any of these comics. And I guess these guys used to work together, getting adventures. Look at that face. That's odd. But also very I think I know guys who look like that. It turns out that his old friend, what was his name? I already forgot. Gabar? Sorry. Yep, Galar. Galar is like a space pirate. And Spacehawk finds out and he says, dude, not cool. I'm a Spacehawk. I stop all interstellar evil. I'm going to stop you. And they make an alliance though. They're like, okay, we got to fight this other bigger threat. These more crazy aliens, more great designs. Look at that guy, how silly he is. That is a very silly alien. Once again, I hope you're noticing this. He didn't have to do this at all. How much time did that take him to do all those lines for the space, It's almost like fucking Vincent Van Gogh Starry Night. Look at that. He just made that blue or black or whatever. It's insane. Another crazy panel taken out of context. Just amazing pop art. Or, the spaceship crashing. This is such a weird panel. Once again, notice the clunky armor. It's so clunky. Little legs. It looks like the Michelin Man. Some more great aliens. And basically, Galar comes around. Galar realizes Spacehawk is just like, you better follow the straight and narrow. And Galar's like, yeah, I kind of miss being a good guy. And so Galar looks like he's on the road to redemption. Love that face. It's a great face. So Spacehawk, Lone Wolf of the Void. That's kind of his subtitle or nickname. Oh my God, guys. So now this is fucking ridiculous. Look at this guy. It's fucking ridiculous. He looks like if Powerhouse Pepper went into a nuclear reactor, got mutated. I mean, that's just so ridiculous, so silly. I love this is Neptune, the kingdom of the Numites. And this is the captain of the guard. And he wants to marry the queen. And for no explicable reason, everyone in Neptune looks like this, but the queen looks like this. Why? How? And of course, even though she's the only one who looks like this, she's considered this great beauty. I'm sure in a planet where everyone looked like this, they would think she was completely repulsive. But, it's obviously our standards of beauty because Basil Wolverton wrote it for Earthlings. She totally rejects him. Guys, once again, look at this hair. I was just fascinated by these crazy curls. Look at this. When I was reading this like the past couple of days, and I was just staring at these for like minutes. It's like, what? So amazing. It's very bizarre. So she rejects him, and he basically says, fuck it, then I'm just taking over the planet. I'm going to have a coup d'etat. I don't need you, Queen. The Queen's actually in love with Spacehawk. Because he looks like a human. Then again, I mean, this is a... I don't know how many women would be in love with this guy. Or men. Or anyone. It's pretty silly looking. But it turns out this Queen isn't very good either. I mean, she is kind of just as bad as the Captain of the Guard. Like, she just is like, oh yeah, I want to conquer other countries too. Oh my God, look at this guy. Amazing. God. Such a crazy character design. Amazing. Look at that face there. Once again, so much, so influenced the undergrounds. I think this stuff. Once again, these look like Dr. Seuss characters. Just kind of so ridiculous. And of course, Spacehawk saves the day. Once again, we're in Neptune. And we see this scientist named Droon. And it's that same Queen. So this is kind of a continuation. And he basically says, I know you love Spacehawk. If I hook you up with him, will you give me this part of Neptune, this area I want? Look at this crazy, kind of his Igor. His name's Jod. That's just a weird design. It's definitely not funny like all these other aliens. That's a weird face there. He looks like Rudy Valley. It's kind of weird. In so many of these comics, Spacehawk does not... He just kills people. His enemies, sometimes will be like, I'm throwing you into this volcano. And then so many stories, though, he'll just be like, come upon these aliens who are obviously have ill will towards Earth. And they're like, Spacehawk, we've got this weapon and we're planning on attacking Earth. And he's basically just like, you better not. And then he flies away. It's so weird. Because sometimes he's totally happy to just kill anyone. So you'd think that if he heard like, hey, we're planning on blowing up half the Earth, he'd just be like, I can't let that happen. I'm killing you. There's Jod. What a weird design. Look, almost reminds me of like Dick Briefer, his early Frankenstein stuff. Very weird. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to let you look at this. I'm going to open this up so you can stare at it for like 2 minutes. Because I have to do something. So, look at this for 2 minutes. Okay, guys, I'm back. And, okay, I'm going to explain myself. So, I'm so dumb at, like, I don't know, technology that a few times in the history of this channel, I've had to, like, stop a video. Like, I was like, oh my God, this video is like an hour and a half. And at the hour mark, I was like, I gotta take a piss. I can't wait any longer. And so I stop it, and then I keep recording, and then just the simple editing tool on like iMovie, you know, it's like it takes me like a day to like figure it out and to get it all together. And so I figured having that little intermission saved me about 2 hours of work. So I hope that wasn't too annoying. I hope you like looking at this beautiful art. I hope you had a bathroom break. Okay, guys, so here, Defender of America. We have this title because all of a sudden Spacehawk takes this radical change. I guess the editors, you know, World War II had started, or I'm sorry, America had entered World War II. And all of a sudden they were like, hey, you got to make this about fighting the Axis. So this beautiful, imaginative science fiction series taking place on all these crazy planets, it's grounded. And basically from now on, he's going to be like hanging out around Earth, fighting imaginary dictators that represent Hitler and the Japanese. Later on, they become full on just, it's the Japanese. But in the first ones, like, you know, they won't say Hitler. They give him a zany name. I guess we weren't quite in the war, maybe. So they were like, oh, we don't want to offend people. Or I never got that. There's so many Golden Age comics where they obviously are like, yeah, this Hitler guy sucks. Let's have our superhero fight him. And they give him a weird name. It's not even called Germany. It'll be like Hunlandia. And it'll be like Vice Chancellor Hinkler or something. Obviously, it's Hitler. But it's not like they could have gotten sued. Like Hitler could have been like, hey, that's slander. So I don't get it. I don't understand why they didn't just come out and say, is that a Hitler? Still, though, look at this. Look at the space here, all the stars. That's pretty obsessive. And it looks amazing. I don't know if you guys have been noticing. I should have pointed it out. He pretty much has a new logo for every episode, and they're all pretty nice looking. He was a great graphic designer. So now Spacehawk is patrolling Earth. He sees this giant asteroid heading towards Earth. Of course, it's not really a space asteroid. It's these Japanese characters who are controlling it. It's basically the Japanese are going to attack Earth. But in these early ones, Basil Wolverton still wanted his cake and ate it too. He still managed to throw so much sci-fi into here. But as the stories go on, they become more and more mundane. And it's sad, actually, because Spacehawk is this wonderful, imaginative character. The art's amazingly imaginative. And it just gets more and more like, Spacehawk fights the saboteurs. As if he's like Batman or something, or, you know, some street-level hero, even though he has these amazing powers. Guys, look at this panel, though. Beautiful. Once again, look at that alien landscape. This is actually the giant planetoid. It's big enough that it's almost like a little planet. And so the Japanese are going to use this little planetoid, drop all these bombs on America, but Spacehawk zaps them out of the sky. Look at these guys. So, guys, I hope you aren't too easily offended. Obviously, it's World War II. Almost every comic back then had pretty offensive depictions of the Japanese enemy. The Germans, not nearly as much, because there's so many German Americans. I think they didn't want to offend them. Kind of weird how they just went full tilt on just being totally racist against Japanese. But the Nazis were just like, okay, they're bad, but they're not inhuman. the way they draw the Japanese characters are just like, they're, I don't know, subhuman, you know, like insane. So, I'm not going to point them out. I'm not going to repeat them. But these are riddled with horribly offensive racial epithets and things like that. But, I mean, you really can't read any Golden Age comics without that. But just look at this stuff here. Compared to all the first stories where every page was like a beautifully imaginative, surreal wonderland. And now he's just fighting these Japanese saboteurs. I mean, we still get like, oh, cool asteroid getting blown up, but in this one, he's got the red, white, and blue. Spacehawk, Defender of America. It's like Basil Wolverton didn't want to do this. He wanted to have fun, imaginative stories, but his editors forced this on him, and you can see it. These stories aren't nearly as good. You can almost, even the art suffers eventually. I think Basil Wolverton was just like, I don't even want to do this shit. It's not what I wanted to do. Of course, it's still pretty fun to look at and, you know, definitely wonky. And not many cartoonists are drawing like this. Yeah, so here we have this this underwater tank. Instead of a submarine, apparently, I believe the Germans had made this underwater tank, which basically takes 4 months to crawl along the ocean floor to get to North America. So it's like, I don't even get it. What's the advantage of this? Spacehawk gets in this like shark craft. I don't know why things like this strike me as so Wolverton. His hand peeking out of this fake shark mouth. He's zapping this, what is that? A line, basically. Oh my God, look how different these are than the first, 8 stories, 10 stories. So not as good. No aliens at all. Pretty boring design there. I mean, definitely unique to Wolverton. Kind of looks weird, but not nearly as interesting. Here we go, guys. His name's Moosler. This is just one of the many doppelgangers of Hitler we'll see. So Spacehawk's going to take on this guy here. Love that design. Instead of having Hitler's haircut, he gives him almost like a skinhead girl. Remember in the 80s, those skinhead girls would have the little shaka hair in front? It's pretty much his haircut. Look at that panel, though. That could be Steranko in like the early 70s or late 60s. That's pretty amazing. Actually, more 70s Steranko. Oh my God, look at this guy. This is completely cartoony art. Hail Moosler. And they're kind of sea-kyling him. Like, so it's so obvious. I don't know why they didn't call him Hitler. I can't imagine what the repercussions would have been. Would somebody have been offended or sued? Like, how dare you portray Hitler as a dictator? This is a little weird haircut. And so Spacehawk's basically fucking with him. And once again, he's just kind of like, hey, you just ordered this attack in America. You better kill that order or else. And, he basically says, just kill the guy. It's war, right? It's not murder. It's like, this is the horrible dictator who's attacking America every chance he can. I don't think anyone would fault you for killing him. And he kills other people. But he won't kill Moosler. He basically drops him in a field of battle to teach him a lesson. Look how that's some weird underground looking art there. Moosler looks just very odd. Moosler. So now we have another more mundane space. Ooh, excuse me. A more mundane Spacehawk. You guys, they get even worse. I'm sorry. They get even more mundane. And now he's fighting some, I guess, Nazis. I don't think they ever say the word Nazi. They're just some evil European power. They've got this super submarine. It's almost like a submarine carrier. So like an aircraft carrier, you know, has planes. There's a giant submarine that then has little submarines that come out of it, like little baby submarines. And this is just like, I mean, this could be like a Sam Glanzman, if Sam Glanzman dropped LSD and wanted to tell a story about the Navy in World War II. That's all this is, you know, like Spacehawk comes to help this battleship fight against these submarines. Oh man, so sad, the difference. You got this cool spaceship and weird little elements here and there, but it's not nearly as fun. Not nearly as zany as those early episodes. Still got the great logos, though. Look at that. That is sharp. If I was a graphic designer, I'd totally steal everything from this book. Look at this crazy contraption. I don't know what, it's some kind of telescope. But that's nuts. Look at that. The colors, everything about it. It's fucking gorgeous. Oh, that's a weird one. He's like in Canada. And these two guys who basically, I don't know, we're a bunch of newfies. Or not newfies, but some kind of Canadians, you know, rednecks, basically. So not as good. And the sad thing is, these are the majority. Spacehawk, you know, lasted for like, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, and the majority of them are these America at war with the Axis. So Spacehawk has to, even though he's this amazing space traveler, he has to just hang around Earth. So at one point in the story, he wants to stop these enemy airplanes from attacking America. So he drops these cables with anti-gravity, I guess the opposite of an anchor, because it's going up. That is just amazing to me. Like just the imagination of these weird lines floating in the air. I wonder if Mobius likes Wolverton a lot, or did. Wait, is Mobius dead? I think he is. I can't remember. But, you know, like, Mobius would have stuff like this in a sci-fi. Just amazingly weird design shit that's like, that doesn't really look practical or organic, but it looks fucking cool as hell. Sometimes he puts Spacehawk in these stupid outfits, and he looks really lame. He looks really silly. That's kind of a great splash page there. Another nice logo. God, look at the beautiful shading everywhere. So this one we meet Dr. Gore. Dr. Gore is going to be a recurring villain. Kind of his nemesis. Like the character design there. The shape of his head. And Dr. Gore's got this, like, he's got his own Igor. It's called Dagor. Kind of useless against Spacehawk. Spacehawk easily subdues him. Yeah, I'm definitely flashing the pages much quicker, as you've noticed. This is not nearly as luscious and amazing to look at as it was. Here's Dr. Gore's return. That's another thing about Dr. Gore. He dies at the end of every episode, or seemingly dies, and there's always some, like, explanation the next time you see him. Like, oh, I actually, I don't know, used a coconut to escape the volcano. It doesn't even make sense. But I couldn't think of anything logical. That guy looks pretty fucking cool, actually. I bet he makes out well with the ladies. Really like that overwrought body language there. Dr. Gore uses his needle gun on these guys. Oh my God, guys. So now we meet Spacehawk's great alien friend, who is literally named Dork. And so from now on, we're going to have to read panels where he's like, hey, Dork, go get the spaceship. Or, hey, Dork, get our laser rifles. See, I'm not making it up. She's called Dork. I don't know if back then that was like a euphemism for, for penis. But I think if Basil Wolverton knew that, he wouldn't have used it. He was a very, Christian dude. He wouldn't be trying to, slip some sly innuendo into these kids' comics. Some, once again, generic fascists. Look at Dork. He looks like Shrek, huh? I never noticed that. Even the art's not as good. Look at his face. I mean, it's okay, but not nearly as good as the first few episodes. I think Basil Wolverton was kind of like cheesed off. I wasn't putting his all into it. Okay, so now we have Herr Nitwitler. Look at that face. So underground. I could totally picture Art Spiegelman drawing that in 1973. Nitwitler. Very silly. So basically, this captain of the rocket patrol of the Nazis, or the Nitwitlers, they're manning this attack on the Allies. Of course, Spacehawk is not going to let it happen. So look at this, guys. This Spacehawk basically torches these guys. It's got some kind of flame cannon. Look at the colors on here. That is just so weird. I seriously think Lichtenstein should have been ripping this off way more. He would have made a lot more money. So this episode in particular, whenever Spacehawk is in a sky battle with these other ships, and one of them is blowing up, to I guess show that smoke is filling the sky, just way more of that Van Gogh crazy line work. It's fucking nuts. I mean, I just can't believe that the shit wages he was getting from these crappy comic book companies, that he'd be like, oh, I gotta do that. Thank God he did, though. God bless him. There's that handful of comic artists who just gave a shit. They didn't care that they were making nothing. They were like, I fucking love this. It's an art form. Once again, guys, look at this. This acid is destroying this equipment. And just, this to me is fucking beautiful art, abstract art. The wisps of acid smoke. Just so great. I mean, completely, this is just abstract art. If it had nothing to do with the story, if that was some modern art painting right there, like that, it would be I love that. Just something about the lines and the shapes. Here's more of that crazy shit I was telling you about. You know, the Van Gogh stuff. This one's packed with it. There's Dr. Gore again. And he's still doing this. He could have just drew. Most artists would have just had gray rocks or one color. Look at these multicolored rocks. It's beautiful. I love it, but not really realistic. This is just crazy. This splash page. Look at that. So this is kind of like, I don't know, lots of negative space. The discs of death. And then look at this panel though. The detail. All these flyers are falling from the sky. Oh, and then all the buildings are amazingly cross-hatched. It's kind of, I like that contrast. Like this is kind of spare. This is incredibly detailed. Overall, looks great. And so basically it's these fascists telling Americans that you better stop helping Britain. So I guess this is maybe before America actually joined the war, when we were just doing the Lend-Lease shit to England, obviously helping the Allies all we could. So I'm not sure though. I should look that up. Then again, I don't think it matters. I don't think Basil Wolverton cared. He was just like, no, I just want Spacehawk to be fighting Venusians. And then, look at this panel. It's very odd to me. The perspective on Spacehawk floating above these people with his anti-gravity belt. That's pretty great too. Didn't mention that. Look at this guy's face. He's like, looks like a Catskills, like an old Jewish comedian or something. Shecky Green. Look at this crazy design. Totally Basil Wolverton. Even though these are more grounded, these stories are supposed to basically take place in 1940 or 1941, you know, during that time. But he throws in such crazy technology that no country had. But he'll be like, oh, the Japanese have this new plane. It's like, no, they didn't. No, we don't have this plane now. Nobody had that plane ever. But Basil Wolverton acts like it's a thing. Like, oh, yeah, the Japanese are going to attack us with this. So this one, Spacehawk is this giant, basically dirigible. It's obviously the Nazis. But like I said earlier, it's very interesting. You know, he'll say like, you Nazi rats. He'll never make fun of Germans. He won't say, you Krauts or anything like that. But with the Japanese, man, oh my God, every other panel is just like, oh God, like really offensive. Obviously attacking the racialness, the racial character of Japanese people. When it comes to Germans, it's just because they're Nazis. That's a very odd logo. This is kind of interesting because I just saw a great documentary on PBS about, there were like, right before World War II, there was huge pro-Nazi camps in America. They were like summer camps for children to indoctrinate them, and societies like the Bund, you know, but there was other groups, and it was scarily huge. Like hundreds of thousands of people were like, no, this Hitler guy sounds great. Why are we shouldn't help the Allies. We should be more like Hitler. And there's all these like racist white people who had these summer camps, and they were running for president. Amazing amount of support. It was quite frightening seeing like the American flag, like in 1939, the American flag and the Nazi flag, and all these thousands of people saluting them. It was almost like the Man in the High Castle or something, you know, but it was real. So this one's kind of about that. There's these subversive camps Oh, look, it says und. I guess they were too afraid to actually call him the Bund. I didn't even notice that last night. Interesting. It's a great face. God, that's pretty nice too. I want that, like a tattoo of that on my arm, wrapping around my forearm. So this guy, his camp gets shut down, and so he buys this ranch so he can continue his work. Of course, Spacehawk is gonna. That's not gonna happen under Spacehawk's watch. So he always sneaks in a little crazy sci-fi stuff, weird rocket ships and stuff. I like this panel. I don't know why. Maybe I'm drunk. This reminds me of Carl Barks for some reason. I don't know why. Look at that face. Tortured face. He's dork again. I can't believe it. Hey, look at that face. Even though I keep comparing these to the earlier ones in a negative fashion, I still love these comics. I mean, these are so wonky and crazy. It's almost like, well, okay, I would do a little extreme comparison. I was like, yeah, these are like genre comics Gerald Jablonski would write. They're just so nutty. They don't really have much in their logic a lot of the times. Oh, look at this nice, great logo, the stars, that amazingly detailed starscape. We got the return of Dr. Gore, looking like a total underground comic character right there. It gets a little tiresome. Every issue, it looks like Dr. Gore's dead. He comes back. He always escapes from Spacehawk's, attempts to jail him. And then once again, this is really where Dr. Gore, because Dr. Gore's pure evil. He's basically, and he's a genius. He could really like destroy the whole world if he put his mind to it, which he sometimes does. And over and over again, Spacehawk is just like, killing's too good for you. I'm going to do this. Even though Spacehawk has showed no compunctions about killing other characters in the earlier issues. Look at this weird spacecraft. It looks like a fingernail here. Of course, if you had a dirtier mind, you could definitely extrapolate that it looks like something else. But it's weird. Yeah, look at that. Like the fingernail window. Looks like a digit. So good. That's a great little face there. I just love him clonking this train guy with a rock. Just the weird body language of this guy. Trying to do a gradiated color here. I guess that was pretty hard back then. It looks kind of cool, though, I gotta say. That's a great panel. Slightly, not worm's eye view, but slightly under. The perspective's a little lower. Dork. Fucking dork. Spacehawk and the battling bullet ships. And once again, Spacehawk is hanging out with Dork. And of course, some evil fascist types have some crazy technology, and they want to invade America. Look at that. That's nice. That face. I think a lot of these, like, Spacehawk just uses his spaceship as like a fucking missile, and he just plows through these villains' technology. I like these two guys. pretty cool. I think he draws all the rivets. Well, not all of them, but lots of the rivets. Kind of cool looking plane. What a goon. Look at this logo, guys. That's amazing. I love that. I would totally steal. I almost want to become a graphic designer just so I can steal that for something. This is Spacehawk in the case of the Black Avenger. Basically, the Black Avengers are a group of saboteurs who are trying to blow up this. They're going to blow up this dam. That's a nice straight panel right there. Yeah, some of these panels where Basil Wolverton just draws straight, it's like, man, you could do all kinds of comic art. Very cartoony, very zany, but then pretty good straight. Not many cartoonists can do that. That shading's really interesting there. I don't think we've seen anything like that on a face. And Spacehawk is barrel-chested. Kind of looks like early Kurt Swan Superman, you know? Just that completely bulky trunk of a body. Or I guess Wayne Boring is probably even a better example. I think Kurt Swan sleeked him up a little. But the Wayne Boring Superman was very just like chunky. Oh, God, that's good. I love that panel. Fucking Dr. Gore again. Back from the death. Here we see the explanation. Some bullshit explanation why he didn't die. And why he's back to torment Spacehawk. And Dork. Look at this panel of Spacehawk plunging into a cloud, the mist in a cloud. There's another great panel. Dr. Gore's fucking cool looking. That's a great character design. He looks like some weird, I don't know, Sicilian, macrocephalic, a Sicilian pinhead, but he's really charismatic. I think it's that nose. He's got that total sexy nose, you know. Chicks would totally go for him. I probably say he has a sexy nose because I'm Sicilian. I don't have a nose that cool at all, but some of my relatives do. Or did. A lot of them are dead. Yeah, some of these pages aren't thrilling me. I can almost sense that Basil Wolverton isn't thrilled. But then we'll have a panel like this. Look at the hatchwork here. It's pretty amazing. Even on his boots. That's nice. Spacehawk and his super dive bomber. So Spacehawk develops this new weapon for the American government. It's like, hey guys, I came up with this thing. I want you to, so you can fight the Axis. And of course, there's guys at the plant who are going to steal the plans. They're agents of the Nazis, or at least they want their money. That panel looks really interesting to me, like nothing else in this book. I almost see like Frank Quitely in this. I know it's not really, he would never do that much cross-hatching, but that face, something about this is so different and interesting. Oh, and this one too, look at this. The shading in this totally reminds me of Undergrounds once again. I can't remember who, maybe Justin Green. The art style is different, but the way he's shading them. Oh, I forgot about these two friends. Look at this, because the lights are out. This is just Amazing, beautiful abstract art. Once again, Roy Lichtenstein, you're an idiot. I mean, if you just took this panel and put it on a canvas, the Museum of Modern Art would have been jizzing all over you. Just like, what the hell is that? Just amazing abstract art. Another weird aircraft. And, of course, Spacehawk saves the day once again. This logo I'm definitely not thrilled with. It's pretty goofy looking little script. Spacehawk and the Devil Divers of the Deep. Once again, in another, it's about like, you know, the Japanese or Germans have some amazing piece of technology. In this instance, it's the Japanese. And they have this like super sub that's demolishing all the Allied ships. And Spacehawk's not going to have it. Yeah, once again, there's another lackluster one. Just, it reads like a DC war comic about the Navy. Spacehawk isn't doing anything that crazy or fantastical. He definitely is. He always does, but look at this guy. Also, it's funny that the Japanese characters and some of the German characters, they all insult the Americans, but like, you democratic dolts. It's like, I don't think the Japanese and the Germans, their propaganda was saying, yeah, those Americans suck because they're democratic. You know, most people claim like, we're the free ones and they're the ones who live in tyranny. But they actually like use that as an insult many times in these comics. You democratic fool. How stupid you are to control your own destiny, your political destiny. Look at this zany aircraft. That's a pretty nice opening panel. All this scenery here. And so now it's getting really mundane. So Spacehawk is basically like, oh yeah, I'm patrolling, you know, basically Alaska and Canada. So I'm flying around to meet all the the Air Force base commandants and the commanders. So it's just so like, he's just like this career soldier now, as opposed to this amazing cosmic adventurer. He would be like that, you know, the comic we looked at, what was it, Jim Starlin's Warlock. If Marvel decided to have Warlock become like a street-level superhero who hung out on Earth and beat up muggers, you know? It's almost as dumb as that. Having him fight saboteurs and, you know, soldiers, enemy soldiers on Earth. Look at this. It's just like looks like a war comic, you know? Nothing crazy going on. All of Basil Wolverton's imagination not being exploited. It's a fucking tragedy. Yeah, I do love this splash page though. Look at this. Spacehawk and the mystery of the green faces. That face is amazing. So good. This is actually great too. So apparently there's this plague overtaking America where people's faces turn green and all of a sudden they espouse sympathy to the Nazis and the Axis. And they turn into Nazi sympathizers. Look at that. That's a creepy, weird panel. I bet Charles Burns likes this panel. I bet he read this as a kid. And it's some kind of disease. They team up Spacehawk with a scientist or doctor. And it turns out he's a little shifty. He's basically making up dumb theories to like almost mislead Spacehawk about what's really going on, and Spacehawk realizes that he's the enemy. Kind of like that face there. So Spacehawk, with all these crazy superpowers he has, fighting this just dude, this Nazi dude who has no powers. He's a gun. It's like, sorry guys, I'm not really seeing the drama here. Though he does have this oafish, thug-like assistant who's a little more formidable. Nice boots. Yeah. Excuse me, guys. It's such a gruesome beginning. Spacehawk has developed this new sonic, I don't know, like a sonic weapon. And he's trying it out on guinea pigs. And they show this just like horribly fucked up guinea pig. That's just weird to me. Like in a kind of, like a sci-fi superhero comic. Weird opening splash page. How much space is devoted to this very creepy looking dead animal. So SpaceX has developed this sonic weapon. He wants to basically goes to the American government. Hey guys, you should use this. And they're like, it would be too much of a danger to our own men. This sonic weapon can like make wood and ignite and just turn oil into mist. It's pretty crazy, very sci-fi-ish. But then all of a sudden they get an announcement. The general who's talking to Spacehawk, it's like, the Japs are attacking the West Coast. So this is kind of a cool battle scene, where the Japanese actually have these little bathyspheres so the Japanese can safely land without, before they're shot. I wonder if that was a real thing. Obviously the metal would be too heavy, but it does seem like it would be a good idea, because they were just sitting ducks up there. They're flying ducks. Yeah, this one there, once again, he's finding this giant dirigible. It's above the clouds. And he tells the general, he's like, I can do this by myself. I got my sonic weapon. Yeah, I like that face. That's a good one. So he uses a sonic weapon. Everyone in the Zeppelin starts getting messed up. Fires start. The oil vaporizes. And, of course, it starts a huge explosion. This is pretty impressive to me. Just kind of like the epic scale of these two panels. It's like an Irwin Allen disaster movie from the 70s, I love that logo. It looks like it could be like a Jack Hole Plastic Man logo. Just kind of funny, kid-like logo, but it's so perfect. This is, okay, guys, this is like the nadir of Spacehawk. Like, you couldn't make this up. Spacehawk in the case of the missing tires. So just like I was talking about how, Warlock fighting muggers, this is just as dumb, or maybe dumber. Spacehawk is tracking down these tire thieves. Because I guess in World War II, that was important. We needed rubber. People were like recycling rubber. It was hard to buy rubber because it was all going to the war effort. But, oh my God. And this one's kind of interesting because it's very lighthearted. It's almost like a rom-com. Spacehawk meets this woman and, well, he stops a tire thief. And she sees him, like, basically clonking this guy. And she says, oh, you brute. He's probably just trying to feed his family. I can't believe you beat that poor guy up just for stealing a tire. And he's like, oh, we'll see how you like it, lady. And as soon as she walks away, he steals her tire and throws it in a bush when a cop turns around the corner. And then he gets arrested because he can't prove he's Spacehawk. This one's definitely like played for yucks. It's one of the few Spacehawks that is. And then this woman comes back in the picture. She has some zany occurrences with the cops. It's like Preston Sturges wrote this one. He ghost wrote it. And it seems like there's obviously some kind of chemistry between these two. But they also vex each other. But overall, though, this is the nadir where, oh, come on, Spacehawk, you're fighting tire thieves. Aren't there, like, Martian warlords who need a good whooping right now? You can tell just by this art, look. It's just like a little gag strip. Another nice splash page. That's pretty nice. The way he inks the ocean water. Beautiful. And this one, they're in Mexico. And these two German spies, who I love the way he draws their faces, by the way. Look at these faces. Very realistic. Except when they're not. Basil Wolverton isn't always totally consistent. But some of the panels of these faces, it's like, oh man, that looks great. So these guys are posing as just Mexican peasants, and of course they're trying to kill Spacehawk when they realize who he is. They're trying to steal his craft, his aircraft. Man, these colors are just outstanding. Look at this. So here's during the day, and then night comes. Perfect colors for these night scenes. Back then, they didn't really... A lot of the times, the colors were just sent to these, like, factories of, like, middle-aged women who didn't have any art background, who would just be like, hey, just put the colors where we tell you. This little code system. It was grunt work, total grunt work. Nothing creative about it. So sometimes it would be a nighttime scene and it would be colored for day, They didn't even read the script. They were just like, yeah, I'll color this guy blue. And it's like, the caption says it's midnight, Here's some more of that crazy fire coloring. Oranges and reds and yellows all kind of intermingling with the cheap color process of the time. And, I'm not even telling you the plot of this because it's just so sad and boring compared to what Spacehawk could be. This one also has a kind of a humorous ending. Look at these two schlubs. I swear to God, that looks like our crumb to me. These faces. This is pretty nice. This has never been seen before. But, Fantagraphics was working with Monty Wolverton on his books, on this book, and the family, and they found this unused cover sketch for Target Comics. That could have been a nice cover. Looks pretty nice composition. And I think this is the only cover Spacehawk had on Target Comics. So it's nice they reprint it. Some more beautiful end papers. And that's it, guys. I haven't even looked at the clock. I have no idea how long this video's been going on for. I'm sorry it's so long, but this is a fat book, and I'm also not, I don't know. To be honest, I know I told you I was drunk, but I'm just enthusiastic about this art so much. I love it. It just blows me away. The colors, all of it. And one of the, in all comics history, this is just astounding to me. So hope you guys liked watching it. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.